The toughest part was finding for the right guidance. After I spoke to you, I do remember that I got my job offer probably somewhere around December 15th, 16th,
December,
somewhere.
yeah. It was a month
Yeah.
after working with us, yeah.
Yeah, it was a month after. In an international student's mind, it's not only just about job, it's a lot of things. Visa, your deadlines, you have to work as well. Started applying to jobs. It felt to me as if I was throwing paper planes out of my window. All the planes went and somehow went somewhere. All I got in return was unfortunately's. Lots and lots of unfortunatelys. Driving one day, and while driving, I was thinking about getting jobs, and then it seems like it's all movies and Bollywood. But then I once shouted in my car with all the windows up. The challenge was applying to 50 jobs in a day, waking up again, and then getting in that same state of applying for 50 jobs. I sent around 112 job requests before hearing the first voice on the call. You don't need to show your responsibilities. You need to show what you have achieved through those responsibilities. And this conversation, you had this conversation with me back then.
Yeah.
So this was the input that you gave, and I took it from the first call itself. Right, that this is what needs to show. My CV is a catalog of my, it's a brochure of what I am. This is what you said. Started to look at my CV as a one-page reflection of myself. It was my LinkedIn. A recruiter got back to me. Why? Because of my LinkedIn thing, and I got my offer, and then I joined in Jan. Conversation about the monetary conversations was not something that you were actually looking to do a lot. You weren't doing it. In fact, it was me who was asking you what to do, etc. So it was more of a helping nature that I saw.
Welcome, guys. So we have Navnit here. So he was a part of our job search program, and through this program, now he's got his visa sponsorship job in the UK. And he's here currently volunteered to share his story and actually talk to people amongst our job seeker community as well to help them. And he's actually going to share his experience and how it was working with myself and the team, and understanding how we've helped him in terms of the job search, as well as how we've kind of given him the knowledge and the expertise to go out into the market. Because initially when he came in, he had a deadline, he had a visa restrictions, he had all these things that were blockers. But we're going to deep dive into certain aspects of his job search journey and ask him questions and understand from him as well. So he's going to steal the show today and actually explain in detail how he got his job and how he got the visa sponsored job. So Navnit, welcome. No, please do give your quick intro, and then I just have a few questions for you as well to take you through and guide you on just to understand how you've done things and how others can be benefited from your lessons learned.
Thanks, Javed. Firstly, thanks for getting me over here. I mean, it's an honor because it was a difficult journey, and you were probably one of the persons who supported. And therefore, as soon as I got the news that my process is going to start. I'm getting the things up, the balls are going to roll, and everything is happening. You were the first one whom I texted. Well, about myself. So, my name is Navneet, and I am from India. And about my job, so about my education, I've done BTech from Amit University, Jaipur, and then worked for 3 years with edtechs such as Byju's and other platforms. So, before I came over here, I was a senior manager sales back in India. So leading a cohort of around 60 people. And I came here for my MBA, started my journey. And yeah, at the moment, I've completed my PSW on my tier 2 visa. So this is about me. I mean, yeah.
Great. So just quickly transition into, like, I want to break down that question. So you said, of course, you're from India, and what made you choose the UK in the first place, and what made you choose the university you did go to? So could you break that initial journey of how you chose and how you actually came about this opportunity, and then how did you leverage that for your experience?
Right. So how did I choose? Firstly, why did I choose UK? So, one of the reasons of choosing UK was, again, the language. I was very comfortable with English. Therefore, when I was thinking of other countries, just France, language would have been a barrier. Maybe. I'm not sure, but I thought so. So this is the reason why I chose UK. And of course, the education system in the UK and how things are done. It's a different story altogether, but then it's challenging. And I was personally looking for challenges at that given moment after completing 3 years in a job. So therefore, this was the reason why I chose UK. When it comes to my university, of course, it was ranked 300 in terms of World Ranking Index, QS Index. So therefore, I chose this university. Apart from that, the course that I wanted to study, I went through the module in my MBA, sales and marketing. That was my major. So I went through the module, and therefore I found that, yeah, it's nice. This is probably what I wanted to study. Therefore, I chose that university. And yeah, that's it.
What was the
About
university you
transitioning
studied in?
it was Anglia Ruskin University, Cambridge. Yeah.
Yeah, no, continue.
So, yeah, no, about transitioning, I mean, if it was a big deal for me for the transition, but then somehow something clicked in my mind, and therefore I took a step. And I guess it was the most amazing step I've taken, I guess. That's what I would say. Yeah.
Great. So that's wonderful to hear. And being in Cambridge, and how was that experience like? Did you choose the city first, or did you choose a university and then the city, or did you evaluate multiple offers? How did
Yeah.
you go about that, or did you just apply to one university and then got in?
No, no. So I did apply to a lot of universities, University of Greenwich, even Westminster University, Cardiff Metropolitan, Sheffield Hallam, to name a few. There were a lot of universities where I applied to, but then Shakespeare said, "What's there in a name?" But then there's a lot of weight in Cambridge. Therefore, Anglia Ruskin University, I'll be very honest with you in those regards. The Cambridge word did definitely attract me a lot. Apart from that, I did went. I mean, of course, the module, etc. When I went through the module, the fees was something that was good. I was getting a lot of scholarship as well. In comparison to other universities, I was getting around 5,000 scholarship. So, which was again a good thing for me and for dealing with my finances and stuff like that. Therefore, I chose that university. I mean, these were the only reasons, and I have no regret at all. It was a magnificent experience, and when everything turned out how things were, when I look back, I feel really nice.
That's good. That's amazing, man. It's always nice to hear these stories as well, right? Because on the daily, when I'm speaking to job seekers, mostly I'm hearing, I came here and now I don't have a job. I'm having to
Yeah.
work multiple part-time jobs, and this, we understand the hardship that you have to go through to get to no actually where you are. I'm sure you also had your fair share of struggles during the initial stages, and then things kind of changed for you. Take us back to your job search journey, and could you explain how was it starting your job search in a new country, understanding nuances in the new country, and then another thing is you're an international student, so you worked 3 years, getting back into work, getting back into education, and then going back as a student or as an international student, searching for jobs. So how was that playing field?
Zavesh, I mean, this is a very nice question, I must say. When I started my jobs back in India, I started as an executive, did a lot of work, and then slowly transitioned into a senior managerial kind of a role, wherein you were on the reporting to some people. So, of course, the job journey was definitely very difficult. When I went on to my PSW visa, that was there. But I would like to talk something about the job journey, about finding the part-time job as well. It was actually very difficult, right? Because, once that shift where you're coming from a managerial position to someone you don't know, probably you'll have to work in restaurant, right? So that is something that was a heavy mental shift that I took, and that was a challenge, but that actually trained me to do any kind of a job, which was required for my MBA, I guess. So that was there. Having said that, we always had this thought in my mind that, yeah, whenever we are gonna go on a PSW visas, it's gonna be easier, because of the restrictions being lifted and multiple stuffs. But then when this happened, people kept telling me that it's very difficult. The market is difficult, and everyone said it's difficult. There was a point where I thought that getting sponsorship is not something that one should be looking at. In fact, I had an argument with a friend over this, that you shouldn't be I shouldn't be thinking about sponsorship, and probably taking all the experiences from UK and going back to India. This was my thought process. But once I started the job hunt process, initially I thought that I'll bag a job. Right? I'll bag a sponsorship job because of my experiences back in India. Then once I started applying to jobs, it felt to me as if I was throwing paper planes out of my window. All the
Mhm.
planes went and somehow went somewhere. All I got in return was unfortunately's, lots and lots of unfortunatelys. And it was a challenge, The challenge wasn't about applying jobs. It was never a challenge. The
Mm.
challenge was applying to 50 jobs in a day, waking up again, and then getting in that same state of applying for 50 jobs, because this is what I was told. The more you apply, the better it will be. I mean, this was told later on because you had to do all the things by yourself. The journey back in India, you have placements. Over here, there's no placement, isn't it? So all of the things you had to find your way, and then you meet multiple people who tell you multiple things. For example, lying on your CV. When I first had a conversation with you, Jab, I said that, this is what I have been told, and I did that. Three CVs, three different things, three different email IDs, three different phone numbers as well. So just in order to get a job, and then you do it for a couple of months, let's say a month or two, and then you realize probably this is not the city that I should be applying for, and then you move to London. It's again a bigger city, and you feel that probably it's going to be better opportunities over here.
Hmm.
But to your dismay, it's not like that. You've got much better opportunities, but then you've got much more people as well. And you haven't changed anything. You've just moved your city. Then again, the same problems. And then finally you realize all your savings are going to go bust, right? And you haven't found a job yet. You said you want to
Hmm.
find a sponsorship job, but then you're not able to pay your bills as well, isn't it? So now there comes the challenge of finding a job which could actually support your bills by the time you look for your jobs. And that's what I did. Started applying for jobs, did different kinds of jobs like transcriber for a month and stuff like that. Finally, by the grace of good Lord, I was able to get into Accenture. But then Accenture wasn't, I mean, I wanted to work. I had a thought process in my mind, but that wasn't working for me. But that's how it is. It's difficult, getting up every day. I remember those days wherein I was driving one day, and while driving, I was thinking about getting jobs, and then it seems like it's all movies and Bollywood. But then I once shouted in my car with all the windows up because I was frustrated. I was frustrated, and that's a fact. Talking to you makes me go back into my journey, and now I remember each and every day
Hmm.
was a problem, was a task, you know. Um, yeah, so yeah, that's how it was.
Well, now we can consider them stepping stones. So,
Yeah,
I mean, going through that back then probably was difficult. But yeah, I mean, one of the thing that you highlighted was no, people suggest lying on your resume or your CV. I think even, I remember having that conversation with you initially, and I told you we don't want to be lying on our no CV. Let's take out all that no unnecessary information. The reason why you don't want to be lying on your CV is purely because it's not going to get you anywhere. Because as soon as you're put into that situation of the hot seat of an interview, you can't back yourself in every direction,
yeah,
and you never know the nuances of every role, and you never know how deep the company is going to do in terms of like a background search or how things are going to work out. So regardless of where in the world you are, I think when you're honest, no, first, it gives you a better chance, and it also allows you to be open with the recruiters in terms of what you can do and what you cannot do, rather than trying to be multiple hats in one particular company. If you're
yeah,
very focused in on one role and you can go deep and actually apply for roles, that's going to help you rather than trying to make it look like you're someone that you're not, because
true.
lies only open up more lies, and then it's like a dead
Vicious
cycle. It's
circle.
like a domino
Yeah,
effect, and things don't actually go the way you want it to go, and then you're digging a pit for yourself. But yes,
that's correct.
what was it like the toughest part in your job search journey though? Like, no, I know parts of it, but I want you also to go into it. Like, what did you feel was the toughest part apart from that unfortunately emails?
Well, the toughest part was finding for the right guidance, Javesh. Because back in India, you had your guidance from I mean, over here as well, the universities do guide you, but then you have a thought process in your mind. This is how you do it. This is where you need to apply. And you have done your MBA. You're looking for a better role. You're looking for a challenging role, not a role which is what you've done earlier. There's a lot of things that
Hmm.
in an international student's mind, it's not only just about job, it's a lot of things, visa, your deadlines, you have to work as well. You're not getting any support, because it's not cool to ask for support from India.
Hmm.
It's 115 rupees, isn't it? So yeah. So therefore, there's a lot of things that back in your mind that's there. Visa, and then you have your bills, then you have your rent, then you have your groceries, then you have to maintain a lifestyle as well. Multiple things at the back of your mind. So that's your mental block. That's the first bit. And the second bit is finding the right guidance of what to do, what not to do. How should you apply? If you've got your experience back in India in these roles and you've worked for these roles over here, this is the best area where you should be focusing on, right? You have to use the keywords that the ATS is not barring you from, because you're applying to so many jobs, and then it's you're being barred. So it's like you're pushing a wall, right? So that doesn't make any sense, because even if you're putting in a lot of efforts, but if you're not putting it in the right direction, it's all a waste, right? So that was one of the toughest tasks, because then as someone who wanted to get a job, of course I was looking out for people, who could help me. But then in this world, of course, I don't mind being charged. I don't mind being charged, but then it should be some humanly thing, because a lot of AI things are happening. I mean, I did come across people who used to send me templates and all of that, just something AI, but then no one was talking to me. Just no one was talking, no one was asking me questions that what was the problem. So that was the hard bit. And when you ask questions to people around you, you would get answers such as lie on your CV. And you start doing that. Suddenly something happens. The next day you have your browser open in Opera, in
Mm.
Google Chrome, and one in Safari. And from these three, you're applying to three different Indeed IDs, and you're getting nothing still. So what exactly should be done? How to go about it? What to do, where to focus, don't give up, stuff like that. A mentor is the difficult. Finding a good mentor is a difficult thing.
Got it. So, and before we connected, like you mentioned that you face a lot of rejections.
Yes.
So, what was the difference between before and after? Like, what was the main things that you feel was a positive thing that worked out for you, and what was missing that we could add as benefits to you?
So things changed, of course. Javez, if you remember, we connected back in probably November, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, that was the time when we connected. So I was trying 4 5 months. I mean, I was trying to do a lot of things, to do a lot of different things altogether. In fact, there was a time when I tried to learn the technical skills, which was never my thing, because I was into sales and marketing before as well. Technical bit was okay, but it should be somewhere related to sales. But I was trying to learn completely different things altogether. So that because people told it's easier to get sponsorship in technical things.
Hmm.
But then I realized it's not working out. You're wasting your time, because you're not
Yeah.
learning what you know already, and you're not building up on what you know. Therefore, firstly and foremostly, I did quit that thought process that no, I will apply to my business development kind of roles where I have been working, and I'm very confident about those things.
Hmm.
So, no matter who, whatever says, I'm going to do what I feel it's good from deep down from my heart. There's a conscience in you which tells you that this is probably the right thing. So I thought I'll do that. Secondly, after I spoke to you, I do remember that I got my job offer probably somewhere around December 15th, 16th,
December.
somewhere.
Yeah, it was a month
Yeah,
after working with us. Yeah.
yeah, it was a month after. So, firstly, my LinkedIn was optimized. So my LinkedIn showed something else. There are very minor bits in LinkedIn and in your CV, which as someone from India, you have a different template for your CV, right? You have your photo on your CV, right? So all those things don't work, right? In UK,
Hmm.
you have a different pattern altogether. It should be a one-page CV, right? Things should be different, and you should be showing things which matters in your CV, not anything, right? Your projects matter. The way your CV is written matters. The numbers matter, and stuff like these. You don't need to show your responsibilities. You need to show what you have achieved through those responsibilities. And this conversation, you had this conversation with me back then.
Yeah.
So this was the input that you gave, and I took it from the first call itself, right? That this is what needs to show. My CV is a catalog of it's a brochure of what I am. This is what you said, I guess. So that's what these changes were made. I started to look at my CV as a one-page reflection of myself. Therefore, all my achievements were mentioned in that manner. Very small things which you said to optimize. For example, the photo of my LinkedIn profile, right, with a blue black
Mm-hmm.
background, right?
Right.
All those minor bits were also done, of course, by your support. So these were the important bits that you added. Literally, it was my LinkedIn. A recruiter got back to me, right? It was Gillespie Recruitment over here in Gateshead itself. These are amazing people. Laura Gillespie is the name of the person. I'm in touch with her as well right now. She reached, to me. Why? Because of my LinkedIn, right?
Hmm.
And then there was the interviews going on and everything, and I got my offer, and then I joined in Jan. So yeah, this
That's
is
wonderful. I mean, the highlight of everything is that even after so many rejections and applications and so on, what worked for you was a LinkedIn and someone reached out to you to actually apply for a role.
yes, and that too in
That
EdTech.
exactly, yeah, right. So, and the other thing, like, no, I think a lot of people kind of miss out on is they think that, I'm coming from India, I have moved here, and I don't know if my Indian experience can be put on my resume. So what happens is everybody starts removing their Indian experience. So that becomes an issue because, see, your experience, regardless of whether it was in India or Antarctica or anywhere around the world, or even not from planet Earth, it still counts as experience if you've done it the right way. And if you've learned something, it should be put
Yeah,
on your CV. And if it is relevant to your role, it's how you put on your CV that matters, not
exactly.
if you should put it on your CV. Right. So
Exactly.
because a lot, like, I have these conversations on the daily, like, no, I did this, but then people say that recruiters will not consider my Indian experience or my no my like experience back home. No recruiter is ever going to say that. It's
Of
just
course.
how you put,
Of course.
like, how you know how you position yourself on your CV that matters. So I think, look, one of the biggest things that I say right now is personal branding is your new CV in 2025. And
Correct.
when you're looking at personal branding is not just it's not just like your CV, but it's your CV, cover letter, LinkedIn, and how you are perceived in the outside world. So all this combined will get you to the job. So your
That's
CV
correct.
is like a template, like where you have, it's like your digital, I mean, it's like your, like you said, like your catalog, or it's literally your summary of your entire journey. So it's supposed to be a short glimpse of your entire journey. And if you cannot put that into one page, then that means you're doing something wrong in the first place. You've got to be able to put that in one page, because how you portray yourself in one page shows recruiters that you have really done the work and the research and are able to concise your manner and communicate effectively. It shows communication skills. And how you communicate on your CV matters, because you would communicate differently in India, you'd communicate differently in the UK. You need to learn the lingo. You need to learn how things should be communicated to recruiters. And that is one of the key points. And then your LinkedIn is your digital business card. So your LinkedIn is always a place for them to cross check, verify. Are you the person you say you are? And that gives substantial knowledge to the recruiter, or evidence to the recruiter you've done what you've said you've done. Right. And yeah, let's move on. I know we're kind of also, trying to keep it as short as possible, but just like, what do you think, when we first connected, what made you decide to work with us?
As I said, I did try to get in touch with people. I was looking for help. Of course, when I spoke to different people, all got was some link. I did try. There were AI things written wherein I had to use some of the keys. It was such a difficult task, altogether. I had to optimize my CV by putting in the job description in the green space that was highlighted, the document that was given to me, and different things, lots of innovative things happening. But it just made me feel that I'm spending some time. And I had to work as well. The bills, don't forget the
Hmm.
bills. So that's there already, and I have to find a new job as well, and I'm trying to speak to someone. When I connected with you, when I said this is, I remember it was morning and you straight away called. The communication was super fast at that moment. And when I spoke to you, I got a lot of clarity in my mind, Javesh. There was a lot of clarity. I understood that I have the skill set. It's just that I'm not doing it in the right manner.
Hmm.
Until then, I had my whole thought process was that I don't have the skill set. But after having a conversation with you, it was that I have the skill set. I remember there was a Revolut job interview that happened. I spoke to you, and you told me that if you want some help, you can help me. And there was, the conversation about the monetary conversations was not something that you were actually looking to do a lot. You weren't doing it. In fact, it was me who was asking you what to do, etc. So it was more of a helping nature that I saw. You know, Therefore, as I said, I didn't have a problem in paying because landing a job is a big deal. And sometimes there are so many resources. So paying was
Hmm.
not a problem. It was all about the connections that you build, the help that you provide. So of course, at that moment, I felt, this because what he's saying is making sense. I can understand. So therefore, I connected with you guys, and you did things. Whenever I called, you responded. Whenever I sent you a text, you responded. Even till date, you respond to my texts and calls. So those sort of small things were important. Therefore, I worked with you guys. Yeah.
Great. And what part of the support, like when it came to the CV, LinkedIn interview prep, or no, what part of it helped you the most, and why?
CV optimization was there for sure. But after CV optimization, I started getting calls. I remember I was counting. I sent around 112 job requests before hearing the first voice on the call. That was the
Hmm.
situation, 112 job applications before I received it. After you optimize, I mean, after after you looked into my CV and told me that these are the things and optimized my CV as well. After that, I started getting calls. It was a very small CV, but once I looked into the CV, I also knew that what is the work that I do. After me looking into the CV, I could explain, oh yes, this is what I did.
Hmm.
So that was the best thing. Secondly, constant help. I could speak to someone and feel that, yeah, this is good. But what advice I'm getting, I can do it. I remember following your advice and the reviewed thing. So that was there.
Right.
And then, of course, the CV optimization was there. I remember I tried to copy someone's LinkedIn because someone said that in your description, where you write your description for the jobs that you have done, try writing a story. So I
Hmm.
wrote a story. So I did a lot of things, but then the CV, when the CV was optimized, that this is what needs to be done, and then cover letter also, multiple things. After you gave me a kit, all the help and the resources, it was a different thing altogether. So this is what I would say.
And where was that moment? Like you keep talking about that moment where you got that real
Eureka moment.
motivation to. So when was that exact moment, and like what changed it?
See, when I'll be very honest with you. The moment was it used to be after my CV changes happened. So I remember I started getting calls and I started moving from stage one to stage two. Right. So once
Hmm.
that happened, and once people stopped asking me, I used to get calls from recruiters who were recruiting on a large scale. But once these small company people who were working with ed techs started calling me because I was into education, I want to be into education down the line. So once they started calling me, I felt my now my skill set are getting published in the market to be seen. Now
Hmm.
this is the time where you actually accelerate. So those moments were the moments where I felt, now I'm not going to go to India without getting a job. It's all right. I can go back to India. India is a nice place. I've got good job opportunities. I'll go back, but I want a job. I want a job which is sponsoring me properly, and I got it. And I'm thankful for the team as well. I'll talk about my job as well. Everything happened. This team, which I'm working with, Daisy Education, again based in Gateshead. I mean, I've got the nicest set of people around, so everything has changed for me. The job environment, the learnings that learning. This is what I wanted to do. That's what I'm doing. So
That's
yeah,
wonderful. I think like one of the biggest things while working with you was that eagerness to work, and like all the changes that we spoke about, you kind of implemented it on the daily and was real time, right? It was like if we spoke today, tomorrow you had those changes made and you're ready to go to the next stage. And a lot of times the biggest problem we face, like when we're in the service or when we're supporting people, is that the issue is we give, like, yes, we have the resources, yes, we have the knowledge, yes, we have the backing of whatever support that we can give, but when it comes to actually doing, we cannot do everything for you, right?
true.
There has to be a level of effort coming in from the job seeker side, and yeah, and no matter how much effort we say, yes, we can do this, we can do this, I can do a lot of support services and additional services apart from whatever you pay to just help you get away with it because you're sick or whatever it is. Ultimately, it all boils down to how many jobs and how many, like, what are the steps you take to actually go ahead into the market. Because like, no, we often see people like, no, it's not working for me right after that 1 week 2 week mark, but it's such a short period for us to evaluate. Now for you, I know things worked out in a month, but ideally it worked out in a month because that mindset shift was quick, right? From going from, oh no, like it's not going to work out for me, to I see how it's going to work out for me. That quick
Yeah,
shift of mindset, that positive attitude, and regardless, like not putting that pressure on you of like, okay, it's not the end of the world if I don't get it, but I'm going to try
yeah,
to my fullest extent, not half hearted, like having that faith and just like saying, okay, I'm going to go for it and do every little thing, no matter small or big, because we again have these debates of, should I really add this? Like you've added this, but like does it make sense? I don't think it makes sense. Or like trust the process, apply, go ahead, take the feedback from recruiters, no, reiterate your CV or make some small changes. But at the same time, don't get into the loop of making so many changes that you stop applying to jobs, because that's where it cripples you, because you're in this loop of just accepting everyone's changes that everyone's talking about, because TikTok, Instagram, you have so many social media channels where so many people are there giving advice. But when it comes to you taking in all that advice and you're just going to go ahead and change every little thing that they're telling you to change, and you're not taking action, that is where you meet a dead end, because you're not going to move. You're not going to step to the next stage. Nothing's going to work for you because you're not taking that first step of actually applying to jobs. So I think, no, it's wonderful working with you. Thank you for this. And thank you for actually taking the time to explain the entire process. I want to give it back to you now to say the closing note. And if you could say some things to motivate anyone who's watching this, that would be great as well. And we can close from there.
Right. So this is what I would say. When it comes to being an international student, when students think of becoming an international student, they've already taken 100 more steps than people who have thought of being in their comfort zones, right? So you're way higher, right? All the international students, hats off and kudos, right? But now, when it comes to getting a job, I know it's hard, it's tough, and the difference between you and me would just be 19 and 20 when it comes to the application process. It's just one more extra day, one more application in the right step. One needs to know the process. One needs to know that if you wanna do something, what is the way, or probably sharpen your weapons before you attack, isn't it? The CV, your LinkedIn, these are your weapons. This is how you get into the market. So work on that. Think what needs to be done, and just one more application, you will get an answer to that one more application, and it's gonna be nice after that. So you
Right.
will have challenges, but far less.
Cool. And thank you so much. Thank you, Navneet, for joining us, and thank you for offering to actually. I know I asked you to have this as like a just a testimonial for a private purpose, and you openly said no, you're willing to share your learnings with everybody, and I'm happy you said that, because it has brought us here. And thank you so much, and thank you for being someone who really believed in the process, because we can now see the fruits that you've received as well, and and the happiness you have on your side. So thank you, and I hope to stay in touch with you. And yeah, this like our conversations don't stop here.
Of course, yes, always. Thank you. Thanks a lot to you too. Thanks.
All right, buddy. Cheers.